than 2 million people behind bars right now, and more than 46,000 of them are non-violent drug offenders. But there's some good news in store for them. In fact, the U.S. Sentencing Commission ruled on Friday, unanimously, that people who are serving sentences for non-violent drug offenders could get their sentence cut retroactively by 2 years. So let me give you the details on that. Around 46,000 inmates sentenced before November 1st of 2014 and locked up for non-violent drug offenses could be eligible for reduced sentences with releases beginning November 1st, 2015. Now, the reason why they're doing this is because we realize that our prisons are obviously over capacity, about 35% over capacity. And even with all these for-profit prisons and all of these different prisons that are popping up throughout the country, we simply don't have enough room for them, and we're wasting too many tax dollars on incarcerating them. So Eric Holder is kind of leading the charge when it comes to this, and it's great news because they shouldn't be in jail anyway.
You know what? Let me get a little... Now, we don't do that often on policy issues, and it's not like it's overwhelming, like that said the war on drugs is over, and etc. And it's not like some of these guys aren't bad guys.
They're non-violent drug offenders, which means the vast majority of them got locked away because they were caught with possession.
Right. No, I understand that. But, of course, a lot of them were plea deals, right? Mm-hmm. So it's possible that they were actually dealing drugs, and it's possible some of it was violent, but it got plead down to the current sentence that they have. But overall, we think the war on drugs is absurd. We think we put people in prison for far too long because of it, let alone at all. Remember, it's like prohibition. It's like we're putting all these people in jail for nonviolent alcohol offense of drinking a beer, which is what we used to do, and basically what we're doing now. So that's why we celebrate reducing their sentences, because they shouldn't be in jail in the first place.
Right. And by the way, of course, yes, this is good news, but it's that Band-Aid over a much larger issue, right? Okay, cool. The government realized, holy shit, we're putting way too many people behind bars. We're wasting too many of our resources incarcerating them. So let's find a way to alleviate this situation a little bit. But what you really need to do is go to the root of the problem, and that is, of course, the drug war, and kind of, rejigger it a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's not working. We're putting way too many nonviolent people behind bars. And this goes beyond marijuana. If someone gets caught with heroin, for instance, you still shouldn't lock them up. If you genuinely care about rehabilitating them, then you put them in a rehabilitation program. You don't lock them away with rapists and murderers.
By the way, don't get too excited. People that are in for nonviolent drug offenses are still likely to serve about 108 months in prison. That's over 9 years.
And part of the problem is because a lot of states have mandatory minimums. So they'll get caught with possession, and as a result, they'll have to serve a certain amount of time, regardless of what the judge thinks.
Right.
So.
And yes, for all of you math geeks out there going, that's not over 9 years, that's exactly 9 years. All right, just calm down for a second.
All right, I like that little preemptive jab at the commenters. Okay, but before I end this story, I do want to give John Oliver props, because one of the biggest issues with the war on drugs is we started locking away so many people that our prisons became overcrowded. So all of a sudden, big business realized, hey, we can make some money off incarcerating people, and that's why you started seeing more and more private prisons. In fact, if you look at the 80s, 1984 to be specific, more and more private prisons started popping up because of the amplified war on drugs. And John Oliver did a great job talking about that. Here's what he said on his show recently. He said, that's true. We have over 2 million behind bars right now. We have more prisoners at the moment than China. We don't have more anything than China, other than, of course, debt to China.
John Oliver's show is fantastic, man. Everyone I've seen. Look, I care that it's entertaining and it's funny, which it is. But he really dives in depth into an issue and covers it much better than almost anything on TV. I don't know why I'm putting almost in there, in terms of the actual substance of the issue. And he did it again with this prison system, but he's done it week in, week out. Look, it's not like I didn't like John. I like John Oliver. I love The Daily Show. I thought he did a great job, but I didn't think the show was going to be this good. So I've learned a lot from it. I think it's fantastic, and it's also highly entertaining.
Yeah, his jokes are spot on. Usually a joke is funny when there's a little bit of truth in it. And he does a really great job at delivering those jokes. The writers are amazing. He's really talented, smart guy. Love the show.